Well, it's not every day when you get a reincarnated smartphone from 10 years ago. From the company that brought us weird phones for weird people, the Unihertz Titan 2 is stirring our little community of QWERTY fans and BlackBerry fanatics. And having used it, I can say that there is good reason to be. Because this time, not only has Unihertz nailed the Passport-inspired keyboard, but it's even brought over its software tricks to Android. This is a comparison of the BlackBerry Passport Silver Edition and Titan 2, running software version 1.0.1. Now, to be honest, I didn't want to do a BlackBerry Passport video because this phone honestly deserves its own throwback review. But I'm glad I can use this time to show you this beautiful device on camera. Just like the name suggests, the BlackBerry Passport Silver Edition, SE for short, was a new addition to the family. It came with a stainless steel frame and, while it did have some plastic components that were pretty fragile, it felt extremely premium where it needed to be, and gave off a luxurious silver look, kinda like those fancy Porsche design Blackberries. But my favorite has to be this diamond patterned rubber back, which, if I recall correctly, they brought over from actual grips of hammers. I tell you, only a BlackBerry could pull off something that's from a toolbox, yet feels like it belongs in a suit. The Titan 2, on the other hand, has a faux leather back and boxy metal sides that feel dense. Oddly to me though, this combo doesn't feel like it belongs in a suit, rather than a pair of cargo pants. Could be because of that thickness that makes you grip the phone like a walkie-talkie. There is still the issue of rattling buttons, and based on comments from my fellow Titan 2 users, I'm not alone. But overall, this is a simple, modern design that I'm quite fond of. Coming back to the Passport, it was a beast in the specs department for the time too. A top-tier Snapdragon 801 processor, a 1440p IPS LCD, more of which we'll talk on, and 3 gigs of RAM. That's basically flagship components on a keyboard phone, which was already becoming quite a rare breed. The Titan 2, of course, is a more mid-range handset with the unusual, or uncommon really, Dimensity 7300. But it comes with 12 gigs of RAM and shared that high-resolution IPS display. Quite literally, in fact, having reused the exact panels that were once used for the BlackBerry Passport, which I was secretly hoping they were just for the fun of it, and now proved from a post by Crackberry Kevin himself. Perhaps this is why only the Titan had the display with flagship-like bezels. It kinda makes you wonder what would happen if they eventually run out of these panels. I guess time will tell, but I can definitely say that this panel holds up pretty well in 2025. Another resurrection of the Passport to the Titan is right below that display, the keyboard touchpad. Personally, I think this was the biggest thing to happen since the trackball for BlackBerry. It put a huge spacious keyboard that had a touch-sensitive layer beneath it to operate the UI, and now allow physical keyboard users to perform gestures just as BlackBerry's on-screen keyboard. So you could swipe up on the suggested word of your choice, and my personal favorite, swipe left to instantly delete a text. Now, as a gesture fan, that's just so smart and cool. But in my early days of using the phone, I remember hating on this funky layout that put all the punctuations on the touchscreen. This ultimately became an odd mix of satisfying tactility with awkward touch inputs for shift and basic punctuations that we need for, grammar. But if we're counting winners, I still do prefer the Passport's keyboard. It's light and, to this day, clicky. The Titan 2's keys are a bit harder to press. It's still a great keyboard for sure, one of the best actually, with a superior layout to the Passport, like having that D key indicator bump, and proper shift function and alt keys on the top row. And while it doesn't have the full list of keyboard gestures, Unihertz was at least able to bring back some tricks like the double tap for a cursor, which finally works well after a software update. And while you can't swipe to delete, you can swipe to turn on the keyboard backlight. Neat. Titan 2's newest software also gives some much needed polish to the UI, such as better subscreen responsiveness for those that care, and finally split screen in vertical windows, so you can work wide, like the good old days. I'll leave the full update details below down in the description. It still has the occasional annoyance. Biggest one for me is that you can't take single continuous screenshots. And just like the Passport, the square ratio isn't ideal for most apps, but it kinda makes up for it with sheer size. I feel that other than Instagram, most global apps work great. Plus, with a bit of work, Android looks pretty sleek on this guy. Yes, Niagara Launcher is yet again my go-to, but this time I chose to put the widgets on the bottom for easier reach of thumb, and a little BB10 Easter egg of course. It also makes the home screen much cleaner, with my favorites all tucked away on the bottom. I also like how you can swipe the Favorites app to see the widgets, kinda like how they used to do it on the Priv. Also, it's worth noting that the keyboard touchpad I raved about doesn't play well with Android. I think this is mainly because it tries to do too much, like even tapping certain areas of the screen using the touchpad. For me, this was causing more trouble than it's worth. My recommendation: go to Scroll Assistant and select Sliding Mode 2, focusing only on vertical scrolling, which improves the responsiveness so much and works great with vertical UIs most apps are based on. Coming back to the Passport SE, the 13 megapixel camera was not only good looking with a design mimicking vintage cameras, it was also pretty high res at the time, and surprisingly took rather okay photos, albeit with sluggish autofocus and plain colors. Funny enough, the Titan 2 shares almost all these characteristics. At least we have better things to say about the selfie camera. And that brings us to the end of this comparison. What I'm left with is a pleasant blast from the past, like this note on my early YouTube ideas, and a look at how far Unihertz has come. A special shout out to them, and here's hoping both of us keep at it. That's all for this video, folks. Thank you for sticking around till the end, and wish you a Merry Christmas.